Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm doing another video, and I'm going to be talking about the 2003 cop thriller action film, if you want to call it that, Dark Blue, starring Kurt Russell, Ving Rhames, and a whole bunch of other actors. But before I get into that, remind you guys to please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow me on all my socials, Instagram, follow me on X, Letterboxd. All those links will be down in the description below. And also, please check out my new podcast, that is the Relay Podcast on Spotify. Check that out. Give it a listen. It's just my quick thoughts on films in 5 minutes or less. Movies I don't normally talk about on the channel. And so please give that a listen. That would help me out quite a bit. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. So Dark Blue, it's a couple days after the Rodney King incident, and the movies kind of take place over the few days of deliberation of the jurors for his case and the police officers and that whole thing. If you don't know what the Rodney King riots are, I will encourage you to look it up on your own. It's hard for me to describe, so I would encourage you to please look that up on your own. It was an unfortunate happening, which ultimately led to riots in LA, and it was a whole big mess. And this movie kind of takes place in those couple of days. They're trying to figure out a robbery that went wrong. A whole bunch of people were killed, and you have Kurt Russell and his partner are like these cops. They're okay cops, but they do some of shady things, and Kurt Russell especially. And with the beginning of the movie, we see Kurt Russell's partner, who is on a board trying to talk about a previous shooting. They said that he shot a suspect in the line of duty, and he got off of that, and it was presumed that it was necessary in the heat of the action when that took place. And so you have Ving Rhames, who plays a police officer who's going up to be lieutenant or for captain, and he is basically on Kurt Russell and his partner, basically like that's not what really happened. And so throughout the movie, he's trying to figure out what evidence he can have against them so he can put them behind bars. And after this shooting happened, we found out that another member of the police force is going around stealing money from these places, knocking all these people off, and taking money from them. And so throughout the movie, we know who does it, but the police officer and the guy who's stealing the money, he puts Kurt Russell and these guys on some other people, and basically tries to pin the whole thing on somebody else. And so, like I said, this is taking a few days before the right, and eventually we get to the day of the verdict, so which was an innocent verdict, for those of you who don't know. And they are trying, Kurt Russell and his partner are sent to the same location to try to find these guys who actually killed the store owner at the beginning of the movie, and get ambushed, and it's a whole thing. It's a pretty, you kind of know, like I said, it's a cookie cutter like cop drama. Has to do a lot more like heavy race tensions because, you know, the whole Rodney King, you know, storyline. The movie takes place in 1992, I believe. And so it's very like, you know, there's a lot of race stuff and a lot of like, you know, behind the scenes, like people put, like these cops are like, if you tell on me, I'm gonna put your secrets out there, and this whole thing. So it's an interesting movie in that sense, because you're kind of conflicted, because you want to see Kurt Russell, like you kind of like, this guy's a bad dude, he needs to be put behind bars, but you're like, you know, what he's doing is like kind of for a good cause, and he goes about it in some really bad ways, but he's still trying to get his man. He's still trying to do what's right. And so at the end of the movie, he has a really good speech where he's talking about basically bringing everything to light. And I think it's very well done. And so I think the movie is very interesting. It's definitely worth a watch if you like that cop espionage type story. And you know, it looks like a late '90s, early 2000s movie. So yeah, you know, real blood. You know, its action's pretty decent, but kind of minimal. And so I think for that regard, I think it's like a decent, you know, action movie. It's pretty long, I will say that, because you're like, oh, this is where we're supposed to be, and then it's like you're like, oh, we got to get there. We haven't gotten to the, you know, full, because you think you're like, oh, this is the climax, this was gonna happen, but you're like, oh, you're only halfway through. And so I will say that it does linger in the middle there, where you're like, oh, they caught their guys, that's it, that's the movie, and it's not. And so that would be my only real complaint, is that once you get to that spot in the movie, and then it just goes down there from there. And so you might lose interest in that. And so, but I think it all culminates at the end of the movie in a good conclusion. And yeah, in a very, like I said, the movie takes place during a very unfortunate time in history, and which, you know, I'll leave that up to, like I said, if you want to look into what the riots, you know, what happened in that, I encourage you to look it up for yourself. And yeah, I guess the soundtrack is good because it takes place in, you know, LA, South Central, you know, like that time period. You get people like, you know, Eazy-E, NWA, that type of music, that early, you know, 90s rap music, late 80s, early 90s rap music. And so if you like that, that's good too. Acting's good all around. You get Brendan Gleeson, you know, Ving Rhames, Kurt Russell, Jonathan Banks, who some people may know from I forgot the name of his character, but he's in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. He's like the enforcer guy. He's like, you got you know, Walter, Jesse, and then you got the other guy. I forget the name of his character. But you'll know when you see him. Jonathan Banks, look him up. Yeah, the movie is good. Like I said, it lingers a little bit in the middle, but a very good conclusion if you watch it to the end. And so for that, I give it, you know, it's a 4 out of 5 stars. I mean, it's an entertaining movie, and I recommend you watch it. So thank you all for listening. Hopefully my rambling wasn't too bad. But thank you all for watching, and yeah, look forward to more videos in the future. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.